Hi and welcome to this live currency strength indicator table video with me, John, on this Thursday, the 27th of July. Lots of change in the market last night. We did discuss the fact that we could see a lot of change coming in towards the middle to end of the week, and that was largely down to the fact that we had high impact data coming out, which included the FOMC federal funds rate decision. We do have an ECB rate decision coming up today as well, so we could expect some type of reaction to that, especially because we can see euro is actually featured here as W3 right now. But we're not going to be focusing on any euro pairs right now. We're going to be focusing on the Swiss franc still. So the Swiss franc still the strongest currency in the market. We did discuss Euro Swiss short yesterday, so that one has not triggered, so we're waiting to see if Euro Swiss will trigger. But dollar Swiss has come back on the tables as the sort of strongest versus the weakest on both the trend traders and the day traders. Now, if you'd followed along with our analysis last week, we actually discussed it around about the 21st of July or 20th of July. We got triggered into this move here, which was a short around about the 86.60 with a 70 pip stop loss. We're now currently 98 to 100 pips up on this particular move. So if price can break down and trade through these lows here at the 85.60, it could open up a move down all the way down into the 80 to 25 handle. So that's where we're expecting the market to head towards. That's where we've got our targets. Now, if you're not in this position, if we go to our hourly time frame and just zoom out slightly, I'm just going to move this over a tad. You're going to be asking yourself the question, how do I get involved with this market? Now, the only thing I'd say is you are approaching support. So usually at support, we get some kind of reaction. So if price was to pull back, then you could be looking in and around this area here, which is the 86.13 handle. You can see there's been support and resistance most recently. Maybe at that point as well, the 50 moving average will be through here. So you could look for a bit of a bounce from that area there for an entry to the downside, because if you were to enter there at least with sort of a 70 pip stop loss, your stop loss is kind of covering those highs there, and you've still got that target towards the downside. Alternatively, you want to see price trade through this resistance level, hold, and then continue to trade lower from there. So you've got alternate options there on dollar Swiss if you have not traded the original position, which was back up here at the 86.60 handle. So definitely something to watch going on there for dollar Swiss. I've taken a look at CAD Swiss as well. CAD Swiss, quite an interesting market at the moment. If we take a look at CAD Swiss, price pressing to the downside. The only thing about CAD Swiss is the downside is very limited. You can see I've got my all-time low here at 84.77. So the downside very, very limited here. Looking for price to potentially head towards that area, but we've only got 25 pips to the downside. ATR's 50 pip stop. So to make this worthwhile, you want to be shorting back up towards this area where you've got at least 60-70 pips. So CAD Swiss doesn't really make sense. So I just wanted to point that one out. Despite sort of the Swiss franc being the strongest currency and CAD being the second weakest, doesn't make sense to get short here at the moment because we're coming into an all-time low. So I just wanted to point that out instead of you going to that chart, pressing sell, walking away. It's important to always figure out where you are in the whole sort of the landscape of the chart. Now, a market that did interest me though is Aussie US dollar. You can see Aussie dollar here as a potential market. Obviously, dollar weakened after that FOMC federal funds rate decision. So we're going to go into Aussie US dollar here. Now, Aussie, quite an interesting market to watch. If we actually just take that off for a second and we head up to the weekly chart, we are kind of working our way to the downside. The only problem is we've found some support recently, and we could argue that we've found a higher low here, which formed at around about the 64 handle, and price since then has started to rally. Now, I think, to be honest, upside here is a little bit again, kind of limited. We do have 80 pips to the next level of resistance. However, if we do look at the pullback entry, it could be fairly feasible to look for the long. If we go to the daily time frame, we rejected the daily 200 moving average. You can see it's pushing upwards as well. If I go down to the 4-hour time frame, we've traded through some resistance here. So you can see found support at 67.25, formed that higher low. Now we've got a higher high pattern. To the high there is 68.90. Now if we look at it from a pullback perspective, it could be around 100 pips target. Now what I did was I just grabbed the fib tool and I just looked at this swing low to swing high here, and I was just looking to see where any kind of fib levels came in, and the 38.2 kind of interested me slightly. If you look left, you can see that it's prior highs. If we look left as well, it kind of comes into this area through here. So yeah, be interesting to see what happens at this point. Do we get a pullback into that 38.2 area? And if we do buyers start getting involved? And do we see a move up to the 68 sort of 90 area, or the 6900 would be nice to see, which is just slightly higher than that prior high there. So definitely I think we can see some upside in this market. I see the only value in this is in that pullback entry though at this current moment in time. But from a technical perspective, we've created a new high, we've broken through trendline resistance, we've created a higher low after finding support at 67.25 plus a 200 moving average. So you can see how you could build a potential position here. The only thing I don't like is we are S3 on the day traders at the moment. I would like it to appear as S2. It is S2 on the trend traders though, so maybe the higher time frame perspective here could be starting to play out. So yeah, like Aussie US dollar longs at the moment, if we can get that kind of pullback entry. Same with the dollar Swiss. I like the dollar Swiss pullback there as well. CAD Swiss not too worried about. I did take a look at Aussie CAD as well. Very similar kind of setup to Aussie US dollar. Weekly, very much, I'd say, messy. It's hard to kind of pick out kind of key levels through here, apart from the 9100 area. If we look at the daily time frame as well, you're kind of making higher highs, lower lows, lower highs. So it's kind of a messy chart to work with. If you do look at the 4-hour time frame though, there are some kind of opportunities around potentially a move back into the 200 moving average here. You can see that we've recently rejected it. The only way I can kind of make sense of this market is that we had a consolidation down through here. Price has retested it. We've now started to make higher highs and higher lows again. Is there a possible entry around about the 38.2 fib with a move up to that 200 daily moving average and prior highs? That's the only way I can kind of see an entry into this market at the moment, but it's not my favorite pair to look at, I must admit. I think dollar Swiss is the top pair. Aussie US dollar looks pretty good as well. I did look at cable, but didn't really see any levels on that to work with either. We are approaching the 1.3 handle again, which is a big resistance point. So I'm focusing on those two pairs really today. Let's see if we can get some kind of pullbacks, and hopefully, yeah, we can get a kind of entry into a couple of these markets. Thanks for watching. I'll speak to you in the next one.